Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Earth Engine User Meetup. And I'm Sabrina Zito, one of the co-founders of ThriveGeo and an Earth Engine Google developer expert. I'm really excited to welcome you back because this is the first Earth Engine Meetup of this year. And we have a wonderful set of two awesome guest speakers who will share with you about their journey to becoming Google developer experts, as well as how the experience has been as a GDE so far. So we're going to give people a couple of minutes to log in and join our stream. I would like to invite those of you who are here as guests to feel free to introduce yourself in the chat if you can. If not, we will get a chance later on to also have some interaction over the Q&A. So once again, a huge welcome to everyone who's here for the first time, and some of you who have been to Earth Engine user meetups before in the past. So I'm going to share a little bit about what we do, and then we can get started with the exciting interviews. All right, so first I'd like to share a little bit about ThriveGeo, which is a company that Julia Wagaman and myself founded last year, and why we're bringing the Earth Engine user meetup over to our community platform. So our mission is to empower individuals and organizations to thrive with geospatial and Earth observation data. That means helping people to achieve their goals and helping more organizations tap into the power of geospatial and Earth observation data sets. And we do this by providing training. Yesterday, we just had our first workshop on Introduction to Geospatial Cloud Computing. And here you are on our community platform, where we are bringing together geospatial professionals who are interested in networking and professional development so that we can help each other grow in our careers. We're going to launch this as a beta community in March, so stay tuned and you can check out our website to apply if you're interested. And last of all, we also do consulting projects, and we work with organizations who want to use this data for all kinds of reasons, from environmental applications to sustainable development applications. So feel free to get in touch with us. Our email address is contact@thrivegeo.com. So to stay in touch about the Earth Engine user meetups, we'd like to invite you to connect via our newsletter. We just send one newsletter a month, and the event links will be there and will be sent directly to your inbox. And if you can't make these meetups because you have a different time zone, for example, you can watch the meetups at your own time on YouTube. We will be recording every meetup and also providing a transcription, which is something that we couldn't do before. But now that we host these video meetups on our community platform, we can also provide the transcripts to each of these meetups. And the meetups will always be free and open, and we welcome anyone who is a member of the EE user community to join us. And we'd like to feature your work. So in the next couple of meetups, we have already invited two awesome guest speakers. The first is Kahe Chow, who did a project with the World Bank on building a cloud application for EO-based climate and disaster risk assessment. And she used a CCDR approach for this cloud application. So if you'd like to hear more about how she did this and what it does, please join us on the 15th of March from 1 to 2 p.m. UTC for this exciting talk. And in April, we are excited to welcome as well Kristen O'Shea, who is from the Desert Research Institute, and she'll be speaking on the 12th of April from 2 to 3 p.m. UTC. So these are our two talks lined up. We have plenty more spots open for any of you who'd like to share your work. So please get in touch with us and we can put you in the schedule for a future meetup. So without further ado, I'd like to start our main portion of the program today. And we are going to be talking about the Google Developer Experts Program. So as a quick overview, I'll be starting this presentation sharing with you about what the GDE program is all about. and the process for applying. And then we have two awesome guest speakers, Dr. Flávia de Souza Mendes, who is a GDE for Earth Engine, and Dr. Alvaro Moreno Martínez, who is also an Earth Engine GDE. And they will be telling you more about their experiences applying for the program, as well as what has been like so far as a GDE for them. So let's dive in. So the Google Developer Experts are a global community, a part of a global community of developers who enjoy sharing what they know with other people who use the same software or products from Google. And Earth Engine is just one of a wide suite of products that have Google Developer Experts. In fact, we're the newest Google product that actually has GDEs. They are spread all over the world, as you can see from this simple map. And they also produce content such as tutorials, podcasts, blogs. They tweet on social media or post interesting videos on how to do things. And they just enjoy sharing their knowledge with other people. And as you can see, because of the global audience, people are also producing content in all kinds of different languages to reach different groups who may not have the same level of access to English documentation, for example. And this really helps people understand how to use these technologies for their own needs. And it's a growing community. Oftentimes, there are events where you can connect with other GDEs who are doing work in other fields. So you can learn about, for example, machine learning, or learn about how to do interesting workflows using Google Workspace or other technologies for web development. So it's a really interesting way to meet other people and also learn from them. So why should you think about becoming a Google Developer Expert? So there are a couple of benefits. You get an acknowledgement in the form of a title as a Google Developer Expert. This helps because it gives you credibility. And if you are already a community leader sharing information, then this is sort of like a stamp of approval that says, yes, this person's doing a good job and we'd like to support what this person is doing. So that's very helpful also in your career. For example, I'm an independent consultant, and having this GDE label helps me look more credible to my clients who think, yes, I think she knows what she's talking about because she has this acknowledgement. You also get invitations to projects. Sometimes they're testing out new things or new features, and they want feedback. So you get interesting opportunities to interact with the Google product teams who are developing something new on Earth Engine and they want people to test it out. So it's a great way to get first information about what's happening next and provide important and valuable feedback so that we improve Earth Engine and people can work with it better. Like I mentioned, there are also a lot of events where this could also include trainings. For example, this week I attended a training on community engagement, how to work with people in the community and engage them with the content that you're making. And I got some really good tips from other GDEs who were there. And like I mentioned, it's a global network. So there are a lot of events happening around the world that you get the opportunity to be a speaker at and also attend and learn from others. So these are some of the perks. Some other perks that are not mentioned here, you do get swag. So for example, you can get like a cool Google mug or a certificate. But you know, this is not the main reason why you joined, but it's a nice benefit. So maybe I can ask Alvaro and Flávia if they have some Google swag around to show it later on. So in addition, like I mentioned, the GDE program empowers you to share your knowledge better by giving you training, a platform and new skills. You can learn from others because, for example, we have a Slack workspace where you can interact with all the other GDEs from other technologies and ask them questions. And then you get insider connections to the teams that are developing what you already use. So like the Earth Engine team, you can ask them questions directly, which is really powerful. And of course, you are also then a role model for other people, and you can help support others in the community by sharing your knowledge. So this is all about users, helping other users get better at Earth Engine, for example. And this recognizes your voluntary efforts. So I'm going to share a few myths about the program. The first top myth is that to be a GDE, you need to know everything. And this is not true because I definitely don't know everything. And I still have to look stuff up and ask questions. And I'm sure plenty of people also do that. So all you need to know is to be comfortable explaining Earth Engine at a 101 level. Explain what it does, how it works, and from your own experience, what can you do with it? So that's the most valuable thing, is sharing your knowledge. And actually, if you run into problems, run into an error, something doesn't work, that's actually a great learning point, because then you can say, okay, I ran into this problem and then I solved it by, looking this up, and I implemented the solution, and now it works. And I'm going to share how I did it with other people, because other people may run into the same problem. So in fact, the less you know, or the more problems you run into, the more valuable your experience becomes. So you definitely don't need to know everything. And you're welcome to come with the level of knowledge that you have. A second myth is that it takes a lot of time, and it's a big time commitment. This is also not true, because in a way, the people who apply to be GDEs, you're already giving that time, right? You're already hosting meetups, or you're already, writing tutorials, you're already sharing your knowledge in some way. So it's not a big additional time commitment. I would say on top of what you're already doing, maybe you attend another 2 meetings a month for around 2 hours or so. Maybe you attend some discussions with the product team. So it's not that much of an increase in how much time that you're already putting in. And also, the program is very flexible. So for example, last year I went on parental leave and I took like 6 months off the program. So you can also definitely take time off as you need. And the Earth Engine team is very supportive of that. And then lastly, it's also a myth that you need to have a computer science degree or a remote sensing PhD. I mean, of course it's helpful, right? But you don't need it to become an Earth Engine GDE. I don't have a remote sensing PhD. My background is in forestry and anthropology. So the most important thing is you bring your experience and your knowledge as a user, and that you want to share this with people. So this is like the basic prerequisites for becoming a GDE. So the main message from that whole section is, don't be afraid to apply. If you're interested, come and talk to an existing GDE. Contact us on social media, write to us, and we'll be happy to share with you more information on what it's been like. So the application process, how do you become a GDE? So first of all, there are several product areas that you can apply for. We are focused on Earth Engine, of course, but just in case you were curious, here are some other places that you can also apply to be a GDE in. Some people are GDEs in more than one product area. For example, Earth Engine and the Google Cloud Platform, or AI, machine learning, and the Google Cloud Platform. So you can definitely combine more than one product area if you have multiple areas of expertise. And like I mentioned, anyone can be a GDE if you have some expertise in the area that your subject is. So expertise in Earth Engine, that you're active in the community, sharing your knowledge, and that you have the ability to share advice and communicate about the technology. So what's the process like? There are currently 2 steps. First step, you need to be referred. So you need to fill in the GDE application form. And then you go through a product interview. In the past, there was a 3rd step, which was a community interview, but it's being streamlined. So now there are only 2 steps. So if you read online, you know that there are 3 steps. It's because the material might have been prepared before, but right now there are only 2 steps. So like I mentioned, you have to be referred by an existing GDE or someone on the Earth Engine team, and they will provide the link to the form. Right now, the form is being updated, so I'm not able to provide a link to the form yet, but get in touch with us anyway. And once the form is live again, we are happy to share this information with you. And when you log into the form, it'll ask you which category you want to apply for, which is Earth Engine, and then fill in sort of a table showing your experience, what kinds of contributions you've made to the community in terms of maybe content you've produced, like tutorials or meetups or videos or blog articles or papers, and then talk about why you want to join the GDE program. Then after going through the application step, you will be matched with a Googler for the product interview. And they will talk to you about some questions to assess how well you know the product and what your area of expertise is. Because as Earth Engine users, a lot of us actually don't come from traditional programming backgrounds. A lot of us may come from a more application-focused domain, like perhaps from the environmental monitoring or conservation space, or working with humanitarian efforts, for example, or some form of industry applications. And combining that domain knowledge with your experience working with Earth Engine will then, create the most useful value for the community, because you're combining how to use the technology with your knowledge about your field. And this conversation will also get some of this into the picture for the Google team. This point here, it says this is not a job interview, no need to stress out. Okay, it's normal if you're a bit nervous, right? Anyone going to any interview will feel somewhat nervous. I felt nervous when I was going into the interview, even though I knew who I was speaking with, and I knew that they were a supportive person. So it's normal, it's okay, but really it's a conversation. Don't need to stress out. Just try your best. If you don't know, just say you don't know, and that's okay. So there are some resources online. I can share the slides after this and you can click on the links. So there's a video that a GDE made about how to become a GDE. And then there's the program application guide, which you can also read through. It covers a lot of the same material that you've already heard in this presentation, but it's a useful guide to have. And like I mentioned, it will be updated, and I think the community interview step will be removed in the future. Okay, so please go on social media and follow these different channels to get more updates on the program and also see what other Google developer experts are doing. And like I mentioned, I'll share the slides later so that you can also get all these account names. So that was a very quick tour of the Google Developer Expert Program. And now I would like to invite our 2 guest speakers to the stage. We have Flávia and Alvaro. So Flávia is the program manager for the Forest and Land Use Program at Planet. And she's also actively involved with Ladies of Landsat, RSAID, and Women in Copernicus. And Alvaro is currently a senior researcher at the University of Valencia, and he works with modeling and understanding ecosystems. So I would like to give a big virtual hand to our guests, and now I'm going to give them a few minutes to introduce themselves. So I'll hand it over now to Alvaro to share a quick introduction about you and how you got into Earth Engine.
Okay, thank you, Sabrina. Well, that's a very valuable information. I wish I had this information about how to become a GDE a long time ago when I was not aware of it. So, I mean, talking about myself a little bit, that's probably kind of the motivation why I started using Earth Engine and I became a GDE. I'm a physicist and electronic engineer, and I did my PhD in remote sensing. And as I said, as Sabrina said, it's mostly related with modeling and understanding ecosystems, more precisely in the estimation of water and carbon fluxes at a global scale. So I came across Google Earth Engine when I was doing my postdoc as part of the scientific team of NASA developing the MODIS algorithms to estimate these carbon and water fluxes. And I met actually there in the University of Montana one actual Googler now, which is Brady Allred. And he was teaching something weird, what's Earth Engine. I was not about, but I didn't know what was about at that point. And I went to his class and I said, oh my gosh, that's really amazing. I'm wasting my time downloading images and doing all this annoying work to process the data. And with this wonderful tool, I can save so much time and really, it's can really speed up my research like crazy, like a lot. So I started using the platform because it was a clear way to improve my science and to do things at vast scales. And, I discovered this incredible community, which is responding questions in the Google group of Earth Engine. And there was this continued collaboration and answering and asking questions all the time, and all the documentation and all this wonderful effort, which I think was one of the reasons why we all use Earth Engine, right? And then I just continued using that when I came back to Spain as a researcher, and I started teaching in the Master of Remote Sensing. I started teaching Earth Engine, right? Because it's like an incredible tool, and I need to spread, the knowledge I have and try to help people in the same way I have been helped in the past by the community. So I was teaching, doing my research, learning and learning, which is the way how you start using and continue using the tool. And I came across this GDE program because it was an advertisement or kind of like information in the Google Earth Engine group. I said, okay, I read the requirements and I said, okay, I think I can apply. I like the tool. I use the tool. I kind of know how to use the tool, and I have been creating data sets and some source code that I share with the community. And I just decided to apply to that. And luckily for me, I was accepted to do that. So that's pretty much kind of a summary of how I became a GDE.
Thanks, Alvaro. That was really helpful. And now I turn the mic over to Flávia to share about herself and her journey into Earth Engine.
Yes, very nice. Thank you very much, Sabrina. Thank you, everyone who is here following this very nice and great webinar. Actually, I agree with Alvaro. I think it's nice to kind of to see all this step by step for how to apply and what are the advantage and so on. So it's pretty nice. So my name is Flávia. I am a forest remote sensing scientist. So I have been working in the field of forest and land use for the last 16 years. I have been working some Brazilian civil and environmental and government agencies such as INPE, for example, Embrapa. And my work was always focused on land use, for example, for deforestation, when we had a deforestation degradation, but also for carbon estimation. And also recently in the last years, I have been working a lot with nature reporting worldwide and trying to understand all these ESG measurements and how we can use satellite on that. And so I think my story was a little bit different compared to Alvaro. As Sabrina and Morgan and also Emil and other Google developer experts, I was part of the first round, let's say, the first team of GDE. So there was first an invitation from the team, and then we have to apply, of course, as everyone. Once we did the application, it was approved or not, and then we went through an interview. As Sabrina said, the interview, I was I was very scared because I'm not a person who knows a lot about like computer programming and so on. But everything went super fine. So when Sabrina said that, don't be afraid, everything will be good, it's because everything will be definitely good. It's just more about general knowledge, and if you understand, for example, the concepts, and if you can support people when they have questions, for example. But I discovered the Google Earth Engine, I think, in the end of my PhD. When I had already processed hundreds of SAR emails, so it was too late for GDE. And I started to use because for me it was a easier language. I mean, I'm as I said, I'm a forest remote sensing scientist. I didn't study computer science. So for me, it was really easy to work and to process, for example, time series for forest application, such as detecting deforestation or even running some models for carbon estimation. So for me, actually was that was I became I started to use GDE. So for me, it was pretty easy, and also it's an easy way also to share your work, right? With the apps that you can create, you can share the results, you can reach more people, because sometimes it's we have to understand that we live in a very diverse world, and not everyone can code, not everyone can understand what what us scientists are talking about. So we need to improve our scientific communication. So I think an app, for example, for the Google Earth Engine, when you can check the maps and all the results, it's a very easy language, right? Maps are an easy language, like everyone can see, everyone can understand somehow and locate yourself. So I think that's something that I really like about this program that got me into this, is the easy language, the nice way to share and to work with diverse community, diverse knowledge, different background. I think this was very valuable.
Thanks, Flávia. Absolutely. And so our first question would be then, now that we've heard how you've gotten into Earth Engine, what led you to become GDEs? I know Alvaro mentioned that he was already creating tutorials and teaching, and this led him to apply and how he found it. So maybe I'll ask Alvaro first, more of the second question. How was the interview process like for you? How did you feel? How was it?
Obviously nervous, because you never know, and you know these big names, people working, in Google is, super nice. It's Google, so I don't know. I have been using that, but I know enough to answer maybe the super challenging questions, and yeah, the reality was it was pretty smooth. I mean, I have a first interview with Eliana, who was actually another GDE, and it was super nice, and we were talking about who were using the platform, so we realized that actually it was my first connection, right? Yes, the interviewer was super nice. And the second round was with Googler, and it also went super smooth. I mean, there were some more challenging questions and others were more normal. We were just knowing each other a little bit, and yeah, it was more nervous actually that it had to be after we passed the interview, and it went very easy. Yeah, see.
That's great. And then after the interview ended, we all like waited for a while to hear back about whether or not it was approved to move on to the next step. So that's definitely an exciting time as well. So
For me, it was pretty fast. I think it was maybe a couple of days. I mean, it depends of the moment, but I think it was pretty easy. Very fast too. Yeah.
yeah. And how about you, Flavia? How was the interview like for you?
Yeah, I mean, the interview was, as I said, I think I was a little bit nervous because I had an interview with Gino. So it was very funny because after I met him in the LPS in Bonn in Germany, so I was like, why did you, why did you have these questions to me? So some of them were a bit challenges, but in the end, everything it's good because again, I think as Sabrina said, this program goes beyond the technical knowledge, right? It's important that we know how to aggregate as a community. I don't know how many times I have friends who are also completely, they're not in the program, but they're super experts, Google Earth Engine, like Yasmin, Michelle, they had questions and then I couldn't solve. And then I was like, Mathieu, Vivian, Sabrina, Alvaro, Eliana, they were like, can you please help me in this code? I cannot figure it out. So, yeah, so in the end, I think the interview was pretty smooth. I think it's important that you share everything, but it's really not a burden in when we think about technical issues. Like, okay, they're gonna be asking many things. I have to have in the top of my mind what is this formula, what is this think about. But I think having a general knowledge, it's very important to understand the whole system. But yeah, for me it was a bit hard in the beginning, but then after that I got relaxed. And after I talked to Gino after the interview and said that okay, that was tough, but was good in the end. I think it was just because I was nervous, but was pretty nice.
And I think one thing that people in the audience might notice is that we are using we're on first name basis with the members of the team and of the Google Earth Engine team. And that's really quite special because the people working on the product are extremely passionate about Earth Engine, and being able to also connect with them is definitely a huge plus of being a GDE. And for me, I had my interview with Tyler Erickson, and I definitely told Tyler for one of the questions, I'm like, I don't know the answer to this question. So feel free to say you don't know, and try to answer like, okay, I don't know, but this is how I would try to solve it, and this is what comes to my mind when you mention this problem to me, and this is how I will approach it. And that's already good to just show how you are thinking through a problem and how you would look for answers. And that's pretty much enough. You don't need to be like, yeah, answering everything and knowing everything. So just share what you know, and that's good enough. All right, let's go on to the next question then. So I mentioned a little bit about in the presentation before what kinds of perks there are or benefits there are to being a GDE. I'd like to now ask Flávia first to share a bit about her experience as a GDE, what she's done after becoming a GDE. And I know, Flávia, you provided some pictures. So I'm going to share some of these pictures now. Okay, over to you, Flávia.
Great. So, but first of all, I want to show that's very nice mug that we get it when we become GGE. I mean, it's super cool and it keeps your coffee or your drink very warm, actually, compared to a normal mug. So that's something very nice. But yeah, there's other nice things also on the package, let's say. So yeah, my experience as a GGE, I said I work a lot in the field of science communication, inclusion, diversity. So, but first of all, going more for the technical side, as Sabina mentioned, I work at Planet, and then there we have a great, we are part of a great program that is the NICIFI Satellite Data Program that I'm sure that all of you know. And many of the things that I have been doing regarding GDE and the NICIFI image, it's to share knowledge, to, for example, having some trainings for people in the universities and institutes and NGOs to show them how they could use and Google Earth Engine, like how they could use this high resolution image for forest application, but not only Google Earth Engine, but also other tools that run on Google Earth Engine, like the CPOL from FAO, for example. So sharing this knowledge, like the applications of the Google Earth Engine for forests using high resolution image. This is one part of the work that I do a lot. But also, as you can see here in this first picture, this was a div developer like event that we have here in Munich, and I was there presenting about Amazon, and I even had like a logo of Amazon, like the Amazon that everyone buys. And when I say that I work with Amazon, people think that I work for Amazon, but it's not this kind of Amazon that I work. So it's interesting because I mean, I think there was no one there with like remote sensing background, forest background. So showing, for example, the importance of tropical forests for our as an ecosystem service, for example, to the balance of carbon, for mitigation in climate change. So I think this is something that it's very cool, and show people as they are developers, for example, or as they want to work with satellite, but they don't know how to, that Google Earth Engine, it's a very good platform that can translate, let's say, this more deep and complex computer language into something more applicable, and that can really affect like people lives in everyday universities and private sector and so on. So this is something that I also do a lot. And of course, I also work a lot in diversity and inclusion, because as you know, we are in a diverse environment and we have a lot of issues to or challenges to overcome. I think things have got better, let's say, in the last years, but I think we still have a long path to go. So something very nice that I really appreciate from the Google Earth Engine community and also Google Outreach is the support for our diversity and inclusion talks and panels, where we discuss, for example, how we can include more, for example, local communities. And when we are discussing about environmental crisis and so on, how we can include more indigenous people, for example, from the global south, and how we can include more people from the global south into discussions in the United Nations or in big corporations where they are deciding something, right? Because we are giving more voice to the people who are, let's say, in the front, let's say, confront of a climate change, but they don't have enough space to decide things. So the voice is we are giving more voice, but decision making is still something that we have to work on. For example, 2 years ago, Sabrina Morgan and myself, we were supporting one of the diversity and inclusion talks that we have in the Geo for Good. It was an amazing, very nice panel. I wasn't there, but Sabrina Morgan was there, and it was super nice, super fun to watch. Also, some small talks, for example, in Geo and Summoners community. Google Earth Engine also community has helped me a lot to go through like RSAT and Ladies of Landsat, Women in Copernicus, all these events that we talk about how we can be more inclusive and diversity and be more diverse in this, let's say, environment that we work on, forest, remote sensing, and so on. And yes, and I think, again, I think it's the most important thing is to translate the message, a message that my mom can understand, you know what I mean? So for example, in my childhood, I was living in a neighborhood in Brazil where we often had a lot of flooding problems. So water were in, like, breaking into many houses, and people there, they don't understand. My mother, my family, we didn't understand why this is happening, and how, for example, all this research that many great scientists are doing, like Alvaro, here we have Sabrina and Emil and many of them, how this can be translated into policies, into public policies, and how this can be like become a real action from the government. So what I see a lot when we think about policies nowadays, we have the new UDR, the new European Deforestation Regulation. So how the Google Earth Engine community, it's kind of putting like having a task force together to see what are the best ways to analyze or to understand how to map deforestation, how to differentiate a coffee plantation and a natural plantation, what are the best satellite image to use, what are the advantage or disadvantage. So I think there's a lot of also use of the Google Earth community to tackle these challenges where these big regulations that aim to protect our forests are having now, right, with this classification and so on. So showing in models, showing, yeah, that's something very interesting that I have seen a lot lately in the Google Earth Engine community, how we can really put all our efforts together as a community with different backgrounds to tackle and to support these big regulations that are coming, and also, for example, the carbon market. And yes, I think I stop here.
Absolutely, Flavia. And it's really amazing to see all the interesting and important problems that different people in the community are working on. And that's why, like, going to the Geo for Good Summit is always very inspiring to learn about what others are doing and seeing the impact that they have all around the world. So I'm going to turn the mic over now to Alvaro. Tell us a bit more about your experience so far as a GDE.
Thanks, Sabrina. Although I'm the oldest here for sure, I'm the newest as being a GDE, so I don't have so many adventures to say, about my journey as a GDE. But connecting a little bit with Flavia just said about inclusion, I think something I realized where we have in this, I think a few months ago, I had a webinar with people from the community from Earth Engine in Nairobi, and I realized that we here, for example, in Europe, we have access in general, my research group, we have access to clusters, computers so easily, right? But in other parts, it's not so easy to have a nice computer, and just Earth Engine is democratizing basically a huge computational power that you can use a tablet, in the worst case, and you can really tackle global problems in a very unique way. So then I realized, okay, that's super nice because you can really do very nice science or applications or whatever you want. Also with the apps that you can develop, you can show in an easy way, your results or your outcomes that you are processing in an incredible way, right? So a part of that, for me, this short period, not almost a year, as a GDE, for me has been like taking Earth Engine vitamins, right? It's like I have been using that and just being exposed to this incredible community of people who are tackling many aspects, from policy things, from science, from many areas of GDEs doing different things and using this platform for doing or trying to provide different solutions from different aspects. It's really interesting. I was in Geo for Good and it was amazing. I met some of the people there, even though I was super jet lagged and super tired, but it was a very interesting and really, interesting and how to say, energizing, right, event to really see how you can really put in practice all your knowledge and the application of Earth Engine for that. So also it's a way to connect with people and collaborate with that, right? In this time, I also presented some of my work in the Nature Conservancy. Also, we are preparing Earth Engine course for EGU this spring in May with Matthew and Emma, which are other GDs. Also, we have been invited to teach how Earth Engine could be used in the name of it is a high performance computing remote sensing school, which is happening also in Europe this summer. So it's a good way just to start to show and connect with people and interact and learn and share. So, and it has been only 1 year, so it's kind of impressive, but because you enjoy the platform and you just receive vitamins and energy, you are giving that and you're receiving that back. So I think that's kind of my last message, so to say.
I really like vitamin and energy.
And Sabrina, just one more thing that I actually would like to add. I think, of course, it's important that you have this technical knowledge when you are a GDE, and it's very important. But part of our community, part of our interview also is to be sure that the person who is becoming an expert, it's in accordance, let's say, it's with the foundation of being a Google Earth Engine developer expert with diversity and inclusion, right? Because of course, this program gives you a lot of attention. That's very clear that. And I think we have a responsibility here, right, to be like the active allies or to be the active person if you are from a non-privileged community. of avoiding, for example, panels only with men, or avoiding discussions about problems in the global south where you only have people from the global north discussing. So there is a lot of fun. It's very nice to be a GDE, but you also have you need to know that there is a responsibility that as a person who is exposed to this, like, because you are part of this program, you also have the role of informing people, of exchanging experience, and being aware that we are our foundation. It's also being a diverse and an inclusion, like a group. Also, I think this is very important, because everyone here in the group, also we have our meetings and so on. We are all supporters of many of these events, and it's also important to people who want to apply to understand that this is a good foundation, and a very important foundation that we have, and one of the key points to solve many issues in society nowadays.
Absolutely, Flavia. And one of the messages I was tasked with sharing today from Justin Bratton, who is currently running the GDE program, he's a Googler, is that we would like to see applicants from parts of the world where we don't have such good representation from the GDE team. So this means from Central and South America, from Africa, from Asia, and from Oceania. So these are the 4 regions in the world where we would really like to see more GDE applications. So if you know someone who is from this region who is doing a lot to share their knowledge about Earth Engine, please connect them with us so that we can support them on this path to applying to be a GDE. And we'd also like to see more people from non-binary and female or women backgrounds apply, gender backgrounds apply, so that we can have also greater gender diversity in our GDE community. So that's it. I would now like to open the floor to questions, because I'm sure a lot of you are here to also, ask questions. So it's the Q&A time. We have Slido, which is a great tool. So please go to slido.com and type in the event hashtag GDE, or you can use your phone and scan this QR code, and it will also take you to the same page. And type in a question, send it, and it will appear on the screen. So please feel free to share your questions now, and we will answer them as they come up. So anybody have any questions? Now is your chance to ask Flávia or myself, or we also have Julia Wagaman, who's also a GDE in the chat here, and I can see if there are other GDEs who are also in here. Emil is.
That's great. Emil is also here. It's nice to see that this, even between us, we are like supporting each other. That's super nice. Thanks,
Yes,
Emil, for the presence and all the sharing on Twitter. That's very nice.
And Gina from the Cloud team and Earth Engine team is also here, so we might be able to ask him some questions too. Okay, so no questions so far, really. Did we do such a good job that you have 0 questions at all?
Actually, there is one here, Sabrina, in the slide. There's
okay.
one here. I can read. There are 2. Now there are 2. It's coming. So what suggestions do you have for people who would like to apply to be a Google developer expert, but who might be hesitant to do so? Also, how many years of experience is needed to become a GDE, and so on?
Okay, so I think there's no strict number of years for being a GDE to apply. What do you all think? Right? There was no strict requirements on that.
Yeah,
I don't remember.
But I guess that you have some background about sharing code and learning. I mean, you need some practice, which probably takes some time, but there is not like a specific requirement as far as I know. Yeah. I think there's another question, right? On top of the chat, one from Nick Jordan, maybe?
Yes, Nicholas asked about the annual evaluation. Do you have to renew your application for GDE on a yearly basis or so, or once you're a GDE, you stay as a GDE. And Julia replied that it's evaluated on a yearly basis. So there is a platform where we used to report our activities. So for example, if Flavia gives a talk, she shares the title of the talk, how many people came, or if Alvaro makes a YouTube video, he posts a link to the YouTube video, and then people can see how many views are on the video. So basically, we update the team on what we're doing, and then they evaluate once a year if our activities are so are if we're still active as GDEs in the community, because it's important that you stay active to continue being a GDE.
Yeah, there is also one question here in the back. So how we can communicate with you, Sabrina? Maybe you can leave your email in the end, so people can send you an email if they want to communicate. And there's one here, very interesting. The three of you hinted at it, but what was the most difficult part of the GDE interview and application process?
The most difficult part was definitely the technical questions, at least for me. And because I like I mentioned, I don't have a traditional programming background. And you are in an interview with people who built the platform you're using. So just that already is a bit intimidating. But then they are very, supportive. They totally understand that, we are not computer science experts or people with that kind of training. And so I think they set up a very nice balance of questions that test your knowledge, but they're not impossible to answer. So there's definitely some challenge there involved. Over to you all, Flavia and Alvaro.
For me, it was the same as you, Sabrina. Also, the technical questions, I think that I found a little bit difficult, as you just said from the background. Actually, this question was from Amy, a very nice one. And yeah, for me, I think the before the interview, because you get at least I got super nervous and during the interview with the technical questions. But again, it was possible to answer, and when I didn't know, I just said like really true, like this, I don't know, and it's completely fine, and we are all here even though we couldn't answer one or two questions, so that's still very fine.
Yeah, for me it was pretty much the same. I would say that the most challenging part was getting over my nerves and say, like, okay, it's like what's going to happen, but afterwards, well, everything is smooth. So just be yourself and say if you don't know something. And if you are using the platform and you get excited about the use of it, which is what we are all, in this journey, I think we are safe.
Absolutely. So a couple of minutes left. Maybe I'll end by asking each of you to share a last piece of advice to people who are thinking of applying. What do you wish you knew when you were applying? What advice do you want to give to people who want to apply this time around?
Yeah, I think, yeah, to be honest, I think this face a lot of things that many people are facing, like applying for whatever, a job or a position or to become a GD. Just do it. I think that's the point. Just do it and try it. The no, you already have it, right? So just go and get your yes. And I think that's the most important. I think no one is kind of should think that I might be not enough, I might not have enough knowledge, they might be looking for someone different, or maybe can better communicate, I'm not so good at speaking. No, just do it, apply it. Again, we have a diverse group, we have excellent communicators, we have excellent programmers, we have excellent scientists, so it's a mix of everything. So there is a space for everyone, literally everyone. So just apply it, and yeah, and we will be all happy to receive you all.
Absolutely, and it's the benefit of working with such a diverse and awesome team where we can really use our strengths to help each other out. And help each other grow as well, because we might be new to something, but we're always on this journey of learning, and being in a supportive community like the GDE program is definitely very helpful. So over to you, Alvaro.
I mean, for me, I think my advice could be just don't get obsessed about being a GD. Just use Earth Engine and help people, and you will learn. And when you learn and you help people, just like a loop which increases actually your skills for these interviews that we know that they are not super difficult. And at the end, I mean, automatically, because you will start meeting other people and learning. So you apply, and maybe not the first one, but maybe the second, you are going to pass the interview. Just use that thing and enjoy the trip of uh, using this very powerful platform. Yeah. So don't get obsessed. That's my my advice. Just learn.
So that's a great attitude to have, I would say, for many things, right? Like, yeah, and it helps you also be more relaxed in general. So just keep going. We'll get there one day, and we're all on this journey. So also feel free to reach out to us. I shared our email addresses on the title slide. If you give me a moment, I will pull it up again. And reach out to us on social media. Feel free to ask any questions. We have some GDEs who have volunteered to speak with people who would like to apply. So you can get in touch with me on my website. I have a contact form there where you can just put in your name, say you want to be a GDE, and I can try and connect you with people in the GDE team who would love to speak with you. So give me 1 second. I'm going to pull up the title slide again so you get our contact info.
Sabrina, you are muted.
Once again, thanks so much for being here. This is our contact info. Feel free to take a screenshot and get in touch with us if you have questions about the GDE program. And yeah, once again, thanks for your support, and join us next month for a great talk by Kahe Chow on the 15th of March. So until then, thanks again to Flavia and Alvaro for your time in answering all these questions that people have and sharing your experience in being a GDE. So thanks everyone, and goodbye.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you. Thank you for the invitation, Sabrina. That's a very interesting initiative.
Thank you.
Bye. See you.